Next we have the Warlock. The Blood Fury Potion. 3 mana, give a minion +3 attack. If it's a demon, also give it +3 health. Now 3 mana for +3 attack, that's just way too expensive. If it's a demon, give it +3/+3 for 3. That's potentially nice. The question is, do you have enough targets? Do you have stable targets? With our friend 2/4 summon imps when it gets damaged? Possibly. So yeah, potentially a card that sees play, I think. But it's not super exciting. For me at least. Unlicensed Apothecary. Get the ingredients wrong on 1 healing potion and they take your license. What a world. So 3 mana, 5/5. Whenever you summon a minion, deal 5 damage to your hero. That's somewhat interesting. Essentially, you want to play this and then trade it off as quickly as possible, I think. Because 5 damage to your hero, that's significant. If you have effects to make yourself immune for a turn on your turn, maybe. I'm confused by this card. I don't know. It's hard to say for me. I mean, a 3 mana 5/5 is definitely very strong, but the effect could become quite problematic. If you play this and then it gets, then your opponent maybe plays humility on this, then you have a problem. And only plays like little stuff. Then this could just kill you. So, feels strange to me. Blast Crystal Potion, 4 mana, destroy a minion and one of your mana crystals. Now, other classes have like Assassinate is 5 mana, simply destroy a minion, and that sees almost no play. 1 mana less and a significant downside, destroying one of your mana crystals. I mean, how significant is it? It can be pretty insignificant on turn 10. Can be very significant on turn 4. So, not too impressed. Crystal Weaver, 4 mana for 5/4, Battlecry, give your demons +1/+1. Are there that many demons? I mean, nobody's really playing a demon deck so far. The question is stuff like Blood Fury Potion and Crystal Weaver enough to make a demon deck worthwhile? I'm skeptical. I don't think so. If it is, then this is a good card. Because 4 mana for 5/4 with an upside is good. But I don't think so. Sea Devil Stinger. 4 mana, 4/2 Murloc. Battlecry, the next Murloc you play this turn costs health instead of mana. Again, Murlocs are generally not very good, and as you can see, there are no other Murloc synergy cards in here. So I don't see Warlock, Murloc really out there. And even then, is this effect really good? It's not bad, but it's not great. Fellfire Potion. Deal 5 damage to all characters for 6. So it's like the Hellfire pumped up a bit. Hellfire sees play. This might also see play. It's It's a bit like a more expensive Ysera Awakens that you can put in your deck. So yeah, possibly. The question is, don't you, when you hit the point as Warlock where you're dealing too much damage to yourself? But I think, yeah, could be played. Could be also played as like a finisher, but then for a finisher it's quite expensive. Cabal Trafficker, 6 mana, 6/6. At the end of your turn, add a random demon to your hand. Demons. If this stays around for a while, this is extremely strong. Like, it's a 6 mana, 6/6 draw a card, essentially. Because the first effect, first time it draws a card, happens guaranteed. And if your opponent doesn't manage to kill it right away, it gives you theoretically infinite value. So yeah, this is an interesting card. If a demon deck becomes a thing, I'm skeptical about that, because if it does, then this is a very nice addition for that. Abyssal Enforcer, 7 mana, 6/6 demon. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to all their characters. So like Hellfire pumped into there. I think this is better than the 6/6 deal 1 damage to all other characters. But since that one doesn't see any play, or almost no play whatsoever, would this one see play? Possibly. I think it's better. Dealing 3 damage to all the characters can wipe the board. So it might. Cruel the Unshackled. 9 mana, 7/9. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, summon all demons from your hand. Again, Reno thing, and this is one of the reasons why all of these deal 3 to all other characters, have Hellfire Potion, and so on, might be worth it. If you're playing a Reno lock with Cruel and Reno and Abyssal Enforcer and so on, the problem is with that kind of deck, if you want to make it a demon deck, when you can't have duplicates, there aren't that many demons. And there aren't that many good demons. So you run into the problem that you have a strong demon synergy, but that only works when you put one of each demon into your deck. And when you only have one of each demon, you don't have that many good cards. So this is heavily reliant on the number of good demons that you can put in your deck, and I'm skeptical if that number is high enough at the moment. So Warlock is a bit meh. It gets demon synergy that might not be good enough for demon decks to play. If it is good enough for demon decks to play, then they get a number of new cards like Crystal Weaver, Blood Fury Potion, Cabal Trafficker that are interesting enough to play, or good enough to play, but otherwise, not much. And the last class is Warrior. I know a guy, discover a minion with Taunt for 1. Again, cards for 1 mana that do something can never be ignored, I'd say. Is discovering a Taunt minion good enough? There is a 1 mana discover a Death Rattle minion, and that sees some play, but I think it sees mostly play in cards in decks with N'Zoth, because you have additional synergy there. You have Raven Idol, but that also is mainly in decks that either synergize with spells or have Fandral, where you can discover 2 cards out of it. So is discovering a Taunt minion on its own good enough? I'm not sure. Is there enough taunt synergy to make this more worth it? I'm also not sure, and I'm skeptical about that. Hubbard Grapplehammer. 2 mana, 2/2, Battlecry, give all weapons in your hand and deck +1 attack. Now, in a weapon-heavy deck, this is, I'd say, pretty good. 2 mana, 2/2 is not terrible. Not great stats, but not terrible. And the effect, if you get this out on turn 2, then before you have played any of your weapons, then you suddenly have 2 Fiery War Axes, which are 4/2 weapons. Maybe you have Arcanate Reapers, then those become 6. That's just very good. So yeah, I'm a fan. Obviously, when you get this one late in the game, it becomes pretty bad, because then you have probably already played a number of your weapons. But if you get this early on, very strong card. Public Defender, 2 mana, 0/7, no. Sleep with the Fishes, 2 mana, deal 3 damage to all damaged minions. I'm not too much a fan of this. I don't think that it's terrible, but I don't think that it's good. And with the power level we have by now, I think you need great cards to be played. Stolen Goods, 2 mana, give a random taunt minion in your hand +3/+3. This is one of the cards where you can argue, is it then good enough to play stuff like I Know a Guy? Or even Public Defender. I think no. Mainly because it's unlike in Hunter, where we have cards that, like with Red Pack and the Kodo, that benefit extremely from heightened stats. There is no such thing with taunt minions. If you taunt up or buff up the Public Defender, it just gets stronger. And yes, in case of the Public Defender, it would be to 2 mana, 3/10. That would be very good. But how likely is that? And if you don't have the combination, then this is a crappy card. So, yeah, not convinced. Grime Street Pawnbroker, 3 mana, 3/3. Battlecry, give a random weapon in your hand +1/+1. There's a 3 mana, 3/4 that potentially gives your weapon, your equipped weapon, +1/+1. And that's, in the right deck, pretty good. This one, if you play it on its own, it's not good, but not extremely terrible. But the 3 mana, 3/3 vanilla is pretty bad, but not terrible. And if it gives your weapon, depends on the weapon. If it gives like your Gore Howl +1/+1, that's extremely strong. So yeah, in a weapon-based deck, possible. Brass Knuckles, 4 mana, 2/3. After your hero attacks, give a random minion in your hand +1/+1. Too bad a weapon, too slow, too weak, I'd say. Because at turn 4, what are you going to do with a 2-attack weapon? Grimy Gadgeteer, 4 mana, 4/3. At the end of your turn, give a random minion in your hand +2/+2. 4/3 are like acceptable stats for a 3-drop, but then it would still need an upside for it to be played. And give a random minion in your hand +2/+2. It happens once guaranteed. So essentially it's a 4 mana, 6/5 worth of stats, you could argue that. But again, I'm not too impressed, because what kind of cards would you really want to buff up? I mean, Maybe the ally Armorsmith. Maybe. I mean, I think you cannot completely ignore cards like this, because the effect happens again and again and again if it doesn't get killed, and then it would be definitely be very, very strong. But with only 3 health, I think it dies pretty quickly. And I'm not sure whether the effect is strong enough. But it is... I think it might be played around with. And the last one is the Ally Armorsmith. 5 mana to 7 taunt. Whenever this minion deals damage, gain that much armor. Could be very interesting. Like, I mean, essentially it's like a 5 mana to 7 lifesteal. It's the same effect, only that you gain armor, which is arguably better because it gets you over 30 and it synergizes with Shield Slam. The only question is, do you want to play something with only 2 attack on turn 5? And isn't that just slow? Also it dies to Bookworm, which will see more play now that the Dragon Priest is better. It dies to Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Horror. It dies to quite a lot of stuff that will probably see more play now. So I'm not too convinced. So yeah, class cards wise, they're trying to push the taunt theme and they are pushing the weapon theme. Pushing the weapon theme is to be expected. They always do that because, well, it's warrior and they have weapons, and that's the thing. The taunt theme, I'm not so certain about that will work. And yeah, that's all the class cards.